friends, for today's video I wanted to show you step by step on how I make the wings on Gulliver the seagull. So I figured that this part where you separate into feathers might be a little bit tricky, but it's really not, so let me show you how to do it. So first we're going to be using our white yarn and our 3.25 millimeter crochet hook, and we're just going to start with a magic loop. Wrap the yarn twice around your finger, insert your hook underneath, grab your working yarn and pull it through, and then do one stitch on chain to start your loop. Now we're going to work 6 single crochet into this magic loop. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now to close the loop, you just pull like you normally do on the tail yarn. See which one closes. Just pull it the rest of the way. So there you go. That is round 1. Now we're going to increase by working 2 single crochet into each space. And this is the last space, so we have 12 single crochet now. So you went from 6 to 12. Now for round 3, we're going to increase this once more to 18 stitches. So we're going to do a single crochet 1 in the first space and then an increase in the next space. For the next 3 rounds, we're just going to single crochet 3 rounds evenly. We're not going to add or decrease anything, just single crochet around for 3 rounds. Now you can see that your crocheting is curling upwards. I like all of my crochet pieces to be the shiny side out, right side out. So if you crochet this way normally, you can leave it, but I like to follow this method. It's also known as a noodle in the bowl because you have the tail yarn in the cup shape of the bowl shape of your piece. So we still have one more round. Let me continue. Okay, so for our next round, I'm actually going to undo this last stitch so that I can change colors. So I'm just going to pull that open, grab my loop again so I don't lose it, and now we're going to change colors by inserting our hook into that space that we were going to work, yarning over, and pulling up a new loop. But instead of finishing our stitch with the same white working yarn, we're going to drop the white. I'm going to go ahead and trim it. And we're going to pick up our gray yarn. And now we're just going to have a little bit of tail yarn and then use our working yarn to go ahead and finish that stitch. Pull your white and your gray tails together, and there you go. Now you've changed colors, and we're going to single crochet around for 2 more rounds in gray this time. Now when I change the colors, I usually like to insert my hook into the first space get both of those tail ends in when I yarn over and then pull through so that I can trap those in place. And I do this for the first couple of stitches. So now we want to work 2 rounds in gray, and I will come back to you. And it's one too far, so let me just take that back. Okay, now we have our 2 rows here of gray. For the next round, we're going to increase again. So we're going to increase to 24 this time. So we're going to single crochet 2 and then increase in the next one. There we go, 24. Now I'm going to mention that I'm not using any stitch markers here right now, but generally if you have a hard time keeping track of what number stitch you're on or where you are in the round, you might want to use stitch markers. It makes everything much easier. But I've made this several times, so for me I'm feeling pretty confident, plus I can see where the stitches are. So it's easier not to use them when filming. Okay, now we're just going to single crochet around for 1 round without any increases or decreases. Here we are now. Now we're going to start working on the feathers, or like the separated tips of the wings. To do this, in my pattern, I do mention using stitch markers to help you separate which sections you're doing. I won't be using them here just because it's easier to film without them, but I will show you how to do this. So what we're going to do basically is divide this into 3 sections that we're going to work in the round. So we're going to take our piece and we're going to press it flat so that the front row of stitches and the back row of stitches line up. Now for the first tip of the wing, we're going to work 4 single crochet on the first half, the front half of our piece, and then instead of continuing on with the rest of the stitches in that row, we're going to hop on over to the back half of the piece and work 4 single crochet on that side. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we're going to do 4 stitches from the back here. So that's going to be, if you count backwards from the start of the row, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's going to be this stitch right here. So I'm going to just hold it with my hook and mark it there. I'm going to pull my loop a little bit looser so I can reach it. I'm going to go ahead, insert my hook, grab the yarn, and I'm going to pull my loop back to its normal size. And then I'm going to single crochet, just like normal. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now we have 8 stitches in the round here, and we're going to work on these 8 stitches until we finish the round, until we finish this tip of the wing. Okay, now all we have to do is single crochet around for 2 rounds, going only over these 8 stitches. So it's just like working the round normally, you're just working on a smaller section. Alright, those are 2 rounds. And for our next round, we're going to decrease to 4 stitches. So we're going to decrease 4 times around. And to decrease, I like using invisible decreases where you just insert your hook under the front loop of your first stitch and then immediately into the front loop of your second stitch. Yarn over and pull through both loops, and then you finish by yarning over and pulling through both as if you're doing a single crochet. So that's 1. 2. 3. And 4. Now for this, we're going to bind off here. We're going to use, if camera full focus, we're going to trim the yarn and just pull the yarn through right now, and at the end we can use a needle to weave in that end and secure the tiny hole at the end of it. So for now, let me just trim that yarn. We're just going to finish that piece off. We'll use this tail later to weave in through this and hide the end back inside the wing, but here is the first wingtip. For the second wing, we're going to do the same thing, except we're going to use one more round to make the middle wing a little bit longer. So again, we're going to take our new piece of the gray yarn. We're going to insert our hook in that first space and pull the yarn. Now I'm just going to chain 1 and work into that same stitch to make it a single crochet. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we're going to go across and work 4 stitches on the back half. And I'm going to just tuck that end inside the wing so it's out of my way. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches here. Okay. Now, before we work 2 rounds here, we're going to work 3 rounds on this one. And we're just going to work in a round. So back to our first stitch, we're just going to continue doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So as you can see, now we have 1 section, 2 sections, and 3 sections. And as you work that first round, your other wing tip might get in the way, this one feather might get in the way, but just be careful to move your hook around it, and you should be fine. So that's 1 round, we'll work 2 more, and then we'll move on to the next step. Alright, for our last round, we are just going to decrease around 4 times, just like in the last swing, and that will finish off the second wing. The second tip, anyways. Okay, again, we're going to trim this yarn. Pull it through, and we'll weave that in later. Now the last wing is exactly the same way as the first one. We only have 8 stitches left. So we're going to attach our new yarn, single crochet for 2 rounds, and then decrease and bind off. So I apologize if my camera has been moving in and out of focus this whole time. I'm still getting used to what settings are best for filming my hands as I crochet, so I apologize for that. Hopefully it wasn't too much of a distraction. But let's do the last wing now. So again, we're going to attach our new yarn, and we're going to single crochet 8 in the round. For this one, make sure, since this is the last opening, to tuck that end inside the wing so you don't have to weave it in later. Now for our decreases, okay, now we're just going to go ahead, trim that yarn again, and pull it through. Give all 3 a little pull to make sure they're tight, and then when you weave them in, they won't look quite as pointy as they do right now, but that's because the ends are still unfinished. But there you go, that is how you make the wing for Gulliver the seagull. I hope that made it easier for you and explained how I divide for the wingtips. Now just make a second one exactly the same way, and you will be ready to attach your wings. Now you can also see for my wings here, I attach them in a way that makes them still flexible and still moves around. And that's because when I stitch horizontally through the body, connecting the 2 wings. But I only went through 1 layer here. I did not go all the way through to the outside, only went through 1 layer. So it's hidden. You can't see it on this side. But it connects the wings to the body and to each other, and it makes them move around a bit. So I hope you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful. And if you make this pattern, please show me a picture on Instagram. I would love to see it. You can just tag me at _the blue elephants. And that's all for today. Thanks so much for watching.